Assalamualaikum. Good day, students of Jakarta Islamic School. Now, today I will be talking about food, different types of foods, and ordering food at restaurants. Now, one of the things is foods are separated generally into 5 different categories. We have our salty, sweet, sour, spicy, and bitter foods, right? So we have 5 different main categories. But I know many of you, your favorite category might be the sweet foods. So I would like to talk about sweet food first. Now, when I first came to Indonesia, I couldn't find any sweet foods that I really liked. And I do like brownies a lot in the United States. So when I went to Bandung for the first time, somebody there had mentioned that Amanda brownies are very famous and very good. So I was very excited to have the taxi driver take me to the Amanda store where they had the brownies, and I bought some with my family and took it back to the hotel I was staying at. And to my surprise, it actually wasn't that sweet. Now, brownies in Indonesia versus brownies in America, I would say, maybe brownies in America are at least 3 times more sweet than brownies in Indonesia in general. But if you get fudge brownies, they can be 5 times more sweet than brownies here. And you can also make chocolate fudge, was another one of my favorites. Now, chocolate fudge is probably about 10 times more sweet than Amanda brownies, so it's very, very sweet. We usually eat sweet foods in America either with coffee, tea, or milk most of the time. So sweet food in America is very sweet. For example, another thing in Indonesia, comparing, is cake. Some people eat cake here, like on a birthday or something like that. Birthday cakes are very popular in America. And the birthday cake that I used to make in America was usually made from buttercream, which is also very, very sweet compared to Indonesian ones. So cakes are very sweet. Cookies, I know most of you have eaten like maybe Oreo cookies. They sell the Oreo cookie here. But it doesn't seem near as sweet as the one I usually buy in the United States. In America, I used to buy what they call the double cream Oreo cookies, so they had extra sweet cream in it. They also is very popular in America is pies. So we have chocolate pie, lemon pie, pecan pie, which is a nut, which is very popular in the United States. Now, they also have different kinds of chocolates. Chocolates here are a little bit sweet, but a lot sweeter if you've eaten American chocolates before. And they also have ice cream. Ice cream is another favorite in America. Most houses always have ice cream in their freezer. We do eat a lot of ice cream there in the United States. And I would like to say that the cookies there that I like the most are probably the chocolate chip cookies, but I like the soft ones, not the very dry cookies, right? So that's most of the sweet things that we eat in America, but we do also like pudding. You have pudding and jello, I think, in Indonesia, but also not near as sweet as they have in America. So pudding and jello, banana pudding was my most favorite. I like to make that sometimes here too. Okay, next we're going to move on to my favorite, which is spicy food. Like when I go to the movie theater, my children, they like to eat popcorn and drink soda. But I actually like to take a bag of cabe or peppers with me, right? And I actually eat the peppers and drink Coca-Cola while I'm watching a movie. So that is always very enjoyable for me. But spicy food. For spicy foods, most countries, they use different types of peppers inside of it. That's why my favorite food in the world is mostly either from Indonesia, Thailand, India, or South Korea. That's the kind of foods I like that are very spicy. For example, from Korea, I like tom yum soup. That is sour and spicy, right? And I also love kimchi. I don't know if anybody's eaten kimchi before, but kimchi is very delicious. One of my favorite foods to eat. Speaking of kimchi, they have other ones, like in America we have what you call spicy pickles. Not too many people eat those, but I like those. A little bit like kimchi, but made from cucumber instead of Chinese cabbage, right? For spicy food in Indonesia, I don't know if I mentioned it, but I love cooking, and of course shopping in Indonesia here, right, on the street markets. But cooking, I like to make a Indonesian food called rendang padang, right? It's one of my favorite foods to make. The way I like it is usually I put about 100 red Indonesian peppers. I think it's called cabai rawit merah in Bahasa Indonesian. But everything I make, all my Indonesian foods are always very spicy. From India, of course, a little bit flavors similar to rendang, but I like curry, so I make curry rice at my house. I always make it extra spicy or extra hot, as they like to say. And then, of course, I forgot to mention Chinese food. Some Chinese foods are very spicy. I also make a Chinese food called mapo tofu, which is beef and tofu mixed together in a sauce that is very spicy, right? So that is some of my favorite foods that are spicy is rendang, tom yum soup, mapo tofu, kimchi, and curry rice, right? Yeah, so those are very spicy, taste very good. The next category is salty food. I like salty also right after spicy. So spicy is my number one. Salty is my number two. Now, salty food doesn't mean that just the food itself is spicy. It could be that you put a lot of salt on it, right? Can make something salty. So my most favorite salty food can either be French fries, right? Put a lot of salt on my French fries. And also sometimes I make peanuts that I fry in a frying pan, my peanuts, and I add garlic and I add salt, right? I'm always told I use too much salt in everything, but that is very salty, of course. You also have different things like pretzels. In Indonesia, I know you have anti-ani pretzels. Usually you can see the salt on the outside of the pretzel. And also, if you like spaghetti, most spaghetti sauces are a little bit salty because they use tomato paste or tomato sauces. And tomato itself doesn't have saltiness, so they add salt into it, which makes it very salty. So I like beef meat sauce spaghetti. I used to make it in Indonesia, but one of the seasonings that I use to season my spaghetti is from a company called McCormick, and they don't actually have that seasoning in Indonesia right now. So I haven't been making the spaghetti sauce for quite a while. Now, moving on to the next food would be, I would like to say bitter. Not too many people like bitter foods, but it is actually a little bit good. For example, bitter would be something that you use cinnamon. Cinnamon is a seasoning that is bitter. Another example is cocoa, right? Cocoa, if you add a lot of sugar, turns into chocolate, but cocoa itself is very bitter. Uh, some people also like if the food has a taste of coffee to it, right? So coffee itself is bitter. And then vegetables like cabbage and broccoli have a slight bitter taste to it. Of course, I'm trying to think. In tea is very bitter, but like tea and coffee, mostly in Indonesia, you put a lot of sugar in it. But when I drink coffee or tea, it's always coffee is black, no sugar, no milk. Tea, well, coffee I actually drink espresso. I like it very strong and very bitter. And then tea, I drink English tea, brown tea, I guess you can call it, but also no sugar or milk in my tea too. So kind of bitter. I like the bitter taste of it a little bit. And then finally, one thing I was going to mention is on the sour foods. Now, I also like sour too. Kind of strange. I don't like the sour food itself too much, even though I like kimchi, which is spicy, but also sour, just like tom yum, right? But they have in America, the usual pickle is a cucumber that they put in vinegar, which is very sour. And so I like sour pickles in the United States. I'm from Japan originally, is where I was born, even though my parents are from Texas. But they have something called the sour plum. It's called umeboshi. That's also one of my favorites too. And then finally, there's a candy in America that we call atomic warheads. It is very, very sour, and I like that one too. I'm gonna next talk a little bit about going to restaurants and ordering at the different restaurants. Now, they have different kinds of restaurants. For example, they have take-out only restaurants where you can order things like pizza, but they have no tables, so you have to take it home to eat it. And different places that are like that. For example, they also have what they call, ghost restaurants. Ghost restaurants are a store that actually a customer cannot go into. It's more like an online store, right? What a lot of people do now because of the coronavirus. But you order online and they cook it in the building wherever they're at and they deliver it to you. We call those ghost restaurants because you actually cannot go inside of it even to order, only online. I like the food stands, kind of like Indonesia, right? There's a little stand on the street and you can order a hot dog or burger or corn dog, right? The person there is making it for you. Then they have the food truck. Maybe you've seen it in movies. It's like a little truck with the restaurant inside of it. They open the side of the van and they serve you different things, like mostly Mexican foods are very popular, like burritos, taquitos, and things like that from the food trucks. Then they have the fast foods, and the fast food, most of them are dine in, but now they're more changing to takeout or drive through in a lot of places now because of, again, the coronavirus. Now they have the casual restaurant, which is a normal restaurant you go into, a little bit like a cafe, or you can have many different types of foods. And then of course they have what they call the fine dining restaurants. These are ones where you kind of dress up sometimes to go to maybe eat French food or steak or something like that. The upscale restaurant, as we call it, for fine dining. Next, I'm going to kind of go through ordering, and some of the words you might use when you order food would be like, I'd like to order, right? Or you can say, I'll have, right? And then you can also use the words like could I get or could I have. Okay, so I'm going to show you some photos of different kinds of foods that I talked about today, like cookies, cakes, pies, puddings, tom yum soup. So you'll see a few photos during this, so I would like to show that to you so you can look at it. Most of the foods you probably know. I forgot to mention I love pizza too. But please look at the following photos of different kinds of foods, and then after that we'll go about how you order at different kinds of restaurants, right? Okay, here we go. Hi, I hope you enjoyed the photos of different kinds of food. Very delicious. I know it'll probably make you hungry and you'll probably want to eat when you get home. Okay, now I'm gonna go through like ordering at McDonald's, right? Most of you have been to a fast food place or chain from the United States like McDonald's, Burger King's, Kentucky Fried Chicken, or KFC, different kinds of restaurants. But let's give an example of ordering at the McDonald's restaurant. Okay? Hi, welcome to McDonald's. What can I get you today? Can I have a double cheeseburger with fries, please? Sure. Would you like to have a drink with that? Yes, I'll have a small Coke. Yeah, just a small Coke. Will that be all? Yes, thanks. How much do I owe you? Oh, that comes to $4.50. Oh, there you are. Thank you. Please wait here. Your order will be ready shortly. And have a nice day. Right? That's one way that a conversation could go. Sometimes instead of saying a burger and fries and then talking about a Coke, you can instead say, oh yes, I would like value meal number 2, right? Which could include everything that you want, like the burger and the fries and the Coke. And they could ask, oh, would you like to upsize that, right? Okay. Now, next we'll do a different one. This will be a little bit more at a casual restaurant. And then last, I will do the fine dining restaurant. So a couple more. One thing to remember, especially if you go to the United States, it is customary when you go to a full service restaurant where you have a waiter that comes, takes your order, that every time you pay for your bill, you add 20% to the bill. This is to pay for the waiter's service. So sometimes that's why service is very good at some restaurants. So just make sure you remember that when you're eating. So if you eat 1 juta worth of food, you pay 200,000 to your waiter. Okay, here we go. For the next part, we will be talking a little bit about a place I like to go in the United States. I also go here in Indonesia or other countries, is a restaurant called Outback Steakhouse. So many of you may have already been to Outback Steakhouse, but let's just give an example of going into the restaurant and ordering. Okay, so let's say me and my family, a party of 4 people, are going there to have dinner, right? Okay. Welcome to Outback Steakhouse. How many guests will be welcoming today? 4, please. Right this way. Here's the menu, and your server, Karen, will be with you. Hi, I'm Karen. Have you decided on your order? Or would you like to hear the specials today? We're ready to order. Could we have 4 New York steaks, 2 with fries, 2 with baked potatoes, and coleslaw for all 4 for the salad? And could we also all have Cokes? So 4 Cokes, please. And I would also like all of my steaks cooked medium rare. Will that be all for you? Yes, thank you. Okay, I'll bring you drinks and some complimentary fresh hot bread. Please enjoy your food and wait until it's ready, so it should be here shortly. Thank you. Now, that is generally what happens at Outback Steakhouse. A little bit different in Indonesia. In Outback Steakhouse in America, I usually eat like 5 of the complimentary breads that are for free. So here they, everywhere I've been, they only give you 1 bread and that's it. But in America, it's as many as you want. As I mentioned, if you go to restaurants that are full service where you have a waiter, it could be like Outback Steakhouse, or it could be a Michelin 3 or 4-star restaurant in Paris, or even in the United States, right? But when you go there, you always have to give the waiter 20% of what you spend on your meal. So if you spend $100 on your meal, you would give $20 to your server or waiter or waitress, as you call it. Now, some of the fine dining restaurants like Michelin 3 or 4-star restaurants require formal attire or formal clothing. So they require that you wear, if you're a male or a man, you would wear usually dress shoes, slacks, dress shirt, and a necktie, and a jacket actually. Some of the places you cannot enter unless you are actually wearing that. And for the female or ladies, it would usually be wearing either dress shoes or heels, high heels, and a dress, or she could be in a business suit also with a necktie. So please don't forget the 20% tipping, very important, especially if you like the restaurant and want to go back again. The restaurant servers are very attentive because that's how they make their money. So usually when you look at a menu and if you just look up, a server will come right away to you, whoever is tending your table or taking your order for the day. They listen very well. So funny story, I was actually at a restaurant. This one was called Red Lobster, where you order a lobster meal. A very delicious place. I like to go there too. I eat a lot of their free, fresh biscuits, actually, baked bread. But one day, when I was there with my family, I needed to go to the restroom, but it was the first time at this specific restaurant. So I kind of raised my finger up, and the lady came over, the server, and she said, "Yes, may I help you?" And I asked, "Yes, do you know where the restroom is?" And she, of course, said, "Yes." And then she waited for a few seconds. I waited for a few seconds. And she said, "If you need anything else, please call me." See, what I did was I made a mistake in asking her, does she know where it is? I didn't ask her, could you please tell me where the restroom is, right? So to this day, that's been about 15 years ago, but I still think it's very funny, and my family thinks it's very funny too. That I asked her if she knew it, where it was, so she thought it was a test, right? Okay, well, thank you very much. It's been nice talking to you about food and restaurants. We'll catch you again. Goodbye. Thank you.